Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Legal World. Myself Dr. Seema Goyal. As in the series of banking law, I have discussed many important questions relating to the banking law. Today in this video, I am going to discuss one more important question, that is what are the general principles of lending. Discuss. If we talk about the general principles of lending, bank accept deposits from the public for the purpose of lending or investment, which is the most profitable for the banks. And lending is a process by which a financial institution provides funds to a borrower. An institute receives interest in return for the loan. And lending by banks benefits both the lender as well as the borrower by increasing the liquidity within the marketplaces where the loans are used and originated. A bank follows certain basic principles of lending while carrying out this business of lending and credit operations in order to secure the safety, security, and profitability of the money it lends. And the lending is one of the most important function that is performed by the commercial banks and is a major source of income of the banks. These fundamental principles of lending by banks affect banks' loans policies, credit operations, etc. And the banks should follow certain basic principles of lending. First principle is that is safety. The foremost principle of the sound lending that is to ensure the safety of the funds lent. While lending money, the banks should carefully consider the chance of its being repaid by the borrower along with the interest. And banks deal with the public money, so safety of money is the first priority of the banks. While lending money, bank must ensure that the money is in the safe hand and will definitely be repaid with the interest without any default. The repayment of loans and safety of funds will depend on borrower's capacity to repay or borrower willingness to pay and the nature of security. The bankers should be careful and ensure that the finance or funds extended by the banks goes to the right hand and is being used for the intended purpose. Repaid back with the interest after serving the useful purpose for which money is lent. That is the first principle of lending, that is safety. Now the second principle of lending, that is this liquidity. Next principle of sound lending is the liquidity of funds. And the bank should keep their investment in the liquid form so that it can be easily converted into cash without much loss of value. And the bank lends public money which is repayable on demand by the depositors. So the bank lends money for a short period and the banker should lending money must ensure that it will be repaid back as per the repayment schedule. And the borrower must be able to repay the loan within a reasonable time after the demand for repayment is made. For example, if there is sudden demand by the depositors for cash and the bank's investment are not in the liquid form, then bank will not be able to meet the depositors' demand for cash. Hence, it is essential that banks should not invest their surplus fund in the immovable properties, as it will make its investment non-liquid. So the bank should invest their funds in government securities, on the first class securities of well-reputed firms. Third principle of lending, that is profitability. Bank accept deposit from the public and lends it to make profit. And the bank should invest its surplus fund in such a way to make and secure for itself an adequate permanent income. So the objective of the bank is to earn the maximum profit. Higher the productivity of its investment, higher shall be the profit of the bank. And the next principle of lending, that is the purpose of the loan. Banks should not grant loan for each and every purpose. The underlying purpose for granting loans should be productive in order to ensure the safety of the funds, while it should be extended for that time that must be sought in order to ensure the liquidity. And the next principle of lending, that is the diversification of the risk. It is generally said that do not put all the eggs in one basket. And the banks should follow this approach also. That is the principle of diversity. While creating an advanced portfolio. While making the investment, the bank should keep in mind that a major portion of the surplus fund is not invested in a particular type of security or a particular type of business enterprise. So the bank should invest its surplus fund in the different type of securities so as to reduce the risk. To reduce the degree of the invest its surplus fund in the different type of securities so as to reduce the risk. To reduce the degree of the credit risks. And the next principle of lending, that is the technical competency. Proprietors should be technically qualified and having the practical experience in the concerned area. This is required in order to ensure that the entrepreneur should be capable of manufacturing the items of the good quality. And the next principle of lending, that is the security. To minimize the chance of risk, security is insisted by banks, and the security acts as the insurance to the lender bank in case of any default by the borrower. And the banker should examine carefully all the aspects before granting the advances. And the security must be adequately, easily reliable, and free from encumbrances. Next principle of lending, that is the quantum of finance. The debt applied should be adequate enough to meet the requirements of the project, and the bank should give loan for the appropriate requirement of the unit after taking into consideration the following factors, that is total cost of the project, second is investment by the borrower, and the loans from other resources. And the next principle of lending, that is the national interest or the social objective. While making the loans, banks should give priority to the national interest. It is responsibility of the banker to ensure that bank's credit should flow smoothly. Neglected sector of the economic and underprivileged sector of the society. That means, giving the loan, banks should priority to the national interest. And this was all about the general principles of lending. And if you have any doubt, then you must put down in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe this channel for the further update. Thank you.